This podcast is part of the Famous Original Podcast Network family. You can find us by going to www.fopnet.biz.
All over. Contains strong language, strong opinions, and strong beers. It is not meant for children or for those who think they are children. You know who you are.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Welcome to episode 105 of Dumb recording from the accidental pregnancy of the original 13 colonies, Pennsylvania, and the not-so-secret lair of New York. This is a progressive podcast with brash opinions on politics, religion, and pop culture. On this week's episode, we update you on the government shutdown and the fake emergency, Amazon in and out of New York, a West Virginian representative on gay people and his kids. You're going to want to stay tuned for that one. And Kamala Harris. And finally, we answer your questions on the Twitter. Yeah. As always, I'm Tom. And joined again in this lovely podcast that we have been calling home for 2 years now. Is Austin.
Hey,
hi, Austin.
What's up, Tom?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I think technically it's been longer than 2 years now. Just crazy.
It's over 2 years. Yeah. Did you like my original 13 colonies thing?
That made me laugh, yeah. I was thinking, I wish they were probably thinking they'd rather have the morning after pill to prevent Pennsylvania.
Oh, I bet you they were for abortion back then.
Speaking of abortion, it's a thing we might no longer have in this country. So.
Hey!
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
That's not a good segue. That didn't make anybody feel good.
No.
Well, it probably
really
made some
sad.
people feel good.
Not the people who listen to the show.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
I always really want to know if there's a Republican or a conservative that listens to our show without without trying to like make fun of us or anything, just to hear like the other side. Maybe they actually enjoy our conversation. They just don't agree with our policies. Do you think that's possible?
No.
Okay, well, there you go. How's your week been, I guess?
It's been crazy, but kind of good. It's a very interesting week, yeah.
Good. How was your Valentine's?
Well, let's just say the day after Valentine's was a lot better.
Ooh, Austin got lucky.
No. I worked I worked really hard.
No, I bet you did. Wow.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
You know what I did on Valentine's Day?
What'd you do?
I drank.
Okay. Well, a lot of people did that. Just most of them drank with other people.
Yeah. I did too. After a while, I could have sworn I was speaking to someone in my room. Went by the nickname Lefty. Okay, that's enough.
Probably has good politics.
Sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it makes really stupid decisions. Like hentai. That was a stupid decision. That wasn't a Valentine's Day thing, by the way.
No,
I wasn't feeling animation.
Yeah, I hope not.
Have you ever seen furry porn?
Okay, I guess that's what we're talking about today.
Something.
I have not.
It is crazy. It's weird.
Sorry, audience. I forgot to put the parental lock on Tom's browser.
I'm not shaming people who are into furry. I'm just couldn't figure it out. Is all I'm saying.
Well, not everything is for you, Tom.
You're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
learned that
Anthony
right away.
Weiner's out of jail. He was into something that I'm not into. Just like him. That's, by the way, that's underage children.
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner's out of jail.
I know. They've uncaged
It's not part
the
of the
wiener.
Trump
It's
report
not
because
great.
he's not really worthy of his own segment.
No.
But they let him out of jail 3 months early or something like that.
And they sprung the wiener. Yeah.
Release the wiener! Ooh. Now, have you ever seen his? Like, you've seen the pictures of like.
I've seen the pictures. Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Really, his body's really strange.
Yeah,
It looks like he's a fat guy, but he has abs.
That's the problem with what he did is that he looks.
Why
weird.
can't I be fat and have abs? That's what I'm trying to get to. He looks like he's fat.
He's not that.
But
He's like really
ripped.
thin.
But now he is because
No, even before he went in, he looked really thin. Almost like.
well, maybe the picture I was looking at was photoshopped. It could have been photoshopped. I'm not.
Or if it was just like at a weird angle. Like anybody can take a
Maybe.
picture at a weird angle
Maybe.
and make themselves look bad.
Maybe feel a
Unlike
little
I
uncomfortable.
just look bad from all angles. So I feel
Same.
bad for the camera.
My mirror just straight up got up and walked out this morning.
Well, at least that lasted until this morning.
Well, this was the newest mirror.
Okay.
You see, I've had many a mirror.
Many a mirror. Gotcha.
Many a mirror. I like that name as like a song name.
Many a mirror.
Many a mirror. Anyway, what the fuck are we talking about?
know.
All right, let's start the show. Let's enter the Trump report.
Have I done a good job? Have I done a good job?
Not at all. Probably the least of anybody you've ever met.
There's nobody that understands the horror better than me.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
And this is why I love this segment, because this time around, like, sometimes we have nothing that's related to Trump.
Yes, I've
This
noticed.
time we have one story that's related to Trump. It's really, when you think about it, it was really a bad decision on our part to name this a Trump report.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny, though, because that's the implicit comedy is that a lot of it has nothing to do with Trump.
But it all has something to
Yeah,
do with Trump.
exactly.
In one way or another.
That's
In one way or
that's
another.
political news in America. Like, even the stuff that has nothing to do with him still has something to do with him.
Like, right, global warming. That was Obama's fault. Remember that?
Stupid
it-
Obama warming up the globe.
I just thought of something really weird. Okay.
Look, it's not that I don't believe in global warming.
No?
I
it's
mean,
not?
that's what I tell the base because they're stupid and gullible. But my administration says that it's so advanced that there's really nothing we can do, so we might as well just ride it out in a blaze of glory.
That was, you know why that wasn't believable? That was far too deep.
Yeah. But it's true because his administration has released several reports on climate change that argue
true.
that it's just too advanced to do anything about now, so we might as well just keep going the way we're going.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he
Well, this-
publicly says that he doesn't believe it's a problem. His administration says that they think it's such a big problem that it can't be fixed, and we might as well
you
just
stop
ignore it.
Bringing us down?
Yeah.
This is even part of the Trump report. You're just making me down.
I'm sorry.
Like, I actually have a drink because of you.
I'm sorry.
My God. Anyway, moving on. The Trump report. So, if you don't know, a deal was struck, Austin. A deal was struck. The government will not be shutting down
Very exciting.
right now. Probably later. Just maybe another time, but not right now. Essentially, Trump was sort of forced into signing a deal that really did not involve any plans for a border wall. Increased border security, yes, but the border wall itself, no. So this isn't actually about that. It's actually about what happened after this was signed.
Okay.
So Trump signs the spending bill.
Spending bill.
Doesn't include the wall. He's pretty upset or pretending to be upset for his base, whatever it is, whatever you want to believe,
They
right?
never, ever remember to take the pickles off my Big Mac. I've told them 1,000 times. 1,000 times I've told them no pickles.
Do people really not like pickles on Big Macs? Because I remember
Some
when
people
I
don't
did
like
used to
pickles
eat-
on anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like pickles? Are you?
Yeah, I'm a
not
fan.
saying. I'm not trying to be.
No, I know. I understand.
Weirdo.
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah.
I like pickles too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pickle?
Oh, probably, I don't know, just like a dill pickle.
A dill pickle? No. Bread and butter.
They're not bad.
I like the sweeter ones.
We went to Katz's Deli in Midtown Manhattan after a show I played, and they serve, like, that's their, you know how a lot of places will give you bread as like an appetizer?
Sure.
They
yeah.
give you pickles because it's a deli.
Oh,
And there are a bunch of
Oh.
different kinds. They're all really good.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never really. Okay, that's pretty unique.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's a cool
I like
place.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But So anyway, this is actually about what Trump did afterwards, right? So Trump went and decided to declare a national emergency.
National emergency. They put pickles on my Big Mac again. God damn it. I told them 100 times.
It's a big problem. It's a big problem.
Then they
Really
were mad at me
huge.
because I
Really
didn't pay
huge.
for it. And I told them that Mexico would. I said,
Mexico would pay for the Big Macs
yeah,
now?
I
God
told
damn-
Mexico,
Man, Mexico.
will pay for the Big Macs.
You know, the
As a
story of this
present.
administration is Mexico fucking sucks. They don't pay for anything. Those freeloading socialists.
They don't pay for anything that we want to do.
Yeah. It's like, we want to build a highway. It has nothing to do with Mexico, but Mexico said they're going to pay for it, so I'll pay for our highway.
It goes through New Mexico. That's the newer version of them. Why don't they pay for it?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, can we just focus on Pennsylvania? Because the roads in Pennsylvania are so bad. They're so comically bad.
Oh, Tom,
can
what
Mexico
are
pay for our
roads?
roads? Huh? What are roads?
My Gary Johnson. What are roads?
Well, in Pennsylvania, I don't know.
We have subways here that are not usually stopped by the snow, just by bad electrical wiring and the fact that they're like 30 years old.
It's not even, oh, well, there's that, but it's not even the snow that makes the PA roads bad. It's the potholes and the cracks and crevices or the crevasses.
I know, but the snow causes them.
They do. Yeah, well, that and the that and the plowing and the salting and the combination. Winters kill the roads.
Yeah.
I'm just
And
saying.
I think Pennsylvania has like the largest like roadway network in the country.
Can
Like,
I just say
Pennsylvania has a
something,
ton
though?
of roads for no reason.
Hear me out.
Okay.
All right. The ancient Romans.
Whenever he says hear me out, this is pretty much where it goes.
The ancient Romans built roads nearly 2,000 years ago, right?
Yeah.
2,000 years ago. And their roads are still here today. Now, in Italy, there's not much snow, so that's understandable. But their empire went as far north as the very tip of France, even England, where they do receive snow.
Mm-hmm. Just
and
the
guess what?
tip of France.
Their roads are still there as well.
Yeah.
Because they did them correctly. So Pennsylvania, do your fucking roads correctly.
Well, I know when I was in France, it seemed like all the roads were cobblestone.
Yeah.
And it was very confusing because the sidewalks were also cobblestone.
Oh, that can be
And
confusing.
so sometime you'd be like walking down what you think is a sidewalk, and then all of a sudden there's a little Renuop behind you. You're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Interesting. So anyway, let's finish this national emergency story because this is more funny
National
than anything, really.
emergency
But he did declare a national emergency.
declared.
And he, with that, announced $8 billion for the border wall.
By the way, part of me wishes that he would have Lindsey Graham do all his declarations, because then you'd get to hear him say, I do declare.
I do declare.
This is a national emergency. Like the time they wouldn't let me in at the Rainbow Hut.
Me and Mike Pence, we were trying to just have a good old Southern boy night out, you know? Just a good old Southern boy night out. I had my tight spandex on. It was so nice. It was so delicious. But big old Mike. You know why they call him Big Mike, don't you? Me neither. Anyway.
They're playing my favorite music from the 80s. The 1880s.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. I'm going to read a little bit from NBC News. I'm going to try to read. I fail at
happening
reading
today?
sometimes. I don't know. It's a weird show so far. President Donald Trump plans to declare, I told you, I struggle with reading, declare a national emergency after Congress passed a government spending deal that provides further funding for border security. The White House announced on Thursday. Now, first of all, I just want to, with that said, Trump has to sign these bills for them to become law. So he could have exercised his power to veto. Now, he doesn't exercise anything. That's clear.
It's bad.
But
that's what I've told the doctors.
He could have
It's
vetoed.
bad.
He could have vetoed this, and he could have actually ended, or he could have shut the government down. But he actually chose not to shut the government
Well,
down.
look, signing
this
things
bill.
is one of my favorite things to do. I
Yeah,
get
they
my
give
big
me-
pen
they-
and I go, scratch them.
Excuse me.
And then I get to show what
use
looks like
thumbprints.
a steakhouse dinner menu to everybody.
A Trump administration official confirmed Thursday night that the president will announce around $8 billion for a border wall under executive actions, part of which will be the emergency declaration. So, if you were following the story from the very beginning, most experts estimate that you need, or we're going to need, I don't know, what was it, $56 billion to do a full wall the way that Trump wanted to do the wall.
And that's just to build it, not
just
counting
to build
maintenance and materials.
Right.
And, yeah.
So even with the $8 billion, you're not getting a wall.
You're getting like a little tiny stretch of steel slats.
Yeah, seriously, that's not a cheap thing. Texas is a humongous country. Oh my god!
Well, they want it to be a country.
State. Yeah, they should be a country.
Yeah, just let them go.
Let Ted Cruz be the president of. Oh, you know what? I just changed my mind. Ted Cruz is the president of Texas.
I'm the president of Texas. No, it'd end up just being Rick Perry.
It would be Rick Perry or George Bush.
I get to be president twice. It's nice as twice. Wait a second.
But I don't know what to do because Dick ain't here. Dick died. Dick Cheney's dead, right?
No, he's still alive.
Oh, that's a shame.
Texas, where wings take dream.
$8 billion. That figure includes 1.3, almost 1.4 billion in the spending bill for fencing in Texas.
I would love if they mistook that and it was just billions of dollars for people to practice fencing.
Fencing in Texas. It's like all of a sudden every person from Texas is an expert fencer would win the Olympics in fencing.
On guard. You're
So
going down,
1.3
partner.
This is really confusing. 1.375 is the official number. Billion in for fencing in Texas, $600 million from the Treasury Department's drug forfeiture fund, $2.5 billion from a Defense Department drug interdiction program, and $3.5 from a military construction budget under emergency declaration of the president. So, essentially, only $1.4 billion is going into the fence.
Yeah.
And we're calling it a fucking fence at this point.
Yeah, we won't call
How
it
much
a
of
wall.
a joke is this fucking presidency and his base? If they really think this is... we already have a fence there, Austin.
Yes, that's
We're
true.
just improving it.
By the way, may I bring your attention? And I like how now I'm giving myself stuff to edit out because it's going to take me a second to find this. May I bring your attention to what Ann Coulter had to say about President Trump?
Oh, what did the old witch have to say? For once, I bet you were going to agree with it.
Well, Ann Coulter, the one who wrote...
Mein Kampf?
Well, I mean, that was one of her lesser works. She wrote the book called In Trump We Trust, which is, oh, I'd like this. Wow, that's horrible. Oh, my God. Okay, so let me get to this before I get to what she actually said about Trump.
Okay.
If we're going to have some doofus named Jared running our immigration policy, I'd prefer it be that pederast from the subway ads.
Oh, my God. She literally just said that she would rather have a pedophile than Jared Kushner. Oh, my God.
Wow.
It always made me, once I found out that the Subway guy Jared was a pedophile, it always made me wonder if I was actually having mayonnaise.
Oh my God. She is pissed. She really wants that wall.
She wants the wall.
Yeah, she wants it bad. And she knows that he's not going to be able to get it if he signs that bill, which he did.
Well,
Trump's BS line about emergency funding for the wall is gone if he signs the bill.
Well, that's not true because he did declare the national emergency, though.
Yeah, but she knows it's going to be tied up in the courts like it is going to be.
Oh, yeah, and that's part of this article, too.
Yeah.
And the headline of this article is House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said if Trump declares national emergency, which he did, Democrats could consider legal action to stop him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen because you can't declare a national emergency for something there's no evidence of that it's an emergency.
Yeah. And
he even said after he said I declared national emergency, he's like, I didn't have to do this, which totally negates the first part where he said it's an emergency.
Let me tell you this, or let's talk about this, I should say. What does this do for the next Democratic president? Does this give him the
most likely a
now?
her, I would guess, but
huh?
I said I would think most likely a her or a she.
Well, no, what did I say?
Is the next Democratic president. Said, does it give him? So I'm probably going to be a she.
I don't know. I think next Democratic president's going to be Bernie Sanders, but
I would hope. But I mean, if I were a betting man, I would say right now that it's probably going to be a she.
Right. But the next Democratic president, does that give the next Democratic president like a pass to declare a national emergency on something that Democrats fight for? Healthcare, education,
if he prevails
climate?
Through the courts, it absolutely does. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. So somebody quoted Trump that said, "The wall is very much on its way," which is what Trump had said at the time. Then Ann Coulter retweeted and said, "So is the second coming."
It is kind of hilarious to me how much she hates Donald Trump
right now. Like she was totally on the Trump train, probably one of the first ones.
Now while you keep looking through, if you're still looking for that one particular
one. Oh my God, this is like if you ever want to hate yourself, just go through Ann Coulter's timeline.
No,
on Twitter.
I'll read you another article also from NBC News.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us are concerned, and that's a quote from lawmakers to Trump's national emergency declaration. Republican and Democratic lawmakers expressed concern Sunday over President Donald Trump's declaration of national emergency to divert money to build his proposed border wall after Congress refused to authorize such funding. The declaration, which Trump made Friday, has divided Republicans, with some saying the move amounted to constitutional overreach and could open the door to a future Democratic president declaring similar emergencies over issues that the GOP disagree with. Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, chairman of the House Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, said many of us are concerned about the declaration. He said that they would have to take a very careful look at what he's doing here, for an instance. He also added, saying, "I'm going to take a look at the case that the president makes, and I'm also going to take a look at how quickly this money is actually going to be spent versus on what he's going to use."
Wow.
So Republicans aren't even thrilled with this move.
No, because they see what's coming, because they know that Trump is a limited phenomena.
Trump is very potentially, I'll say, not likely, I'll say potentially a one-term president.
And the thing is, if he is, and the Democrats are allowed to use this national emergency mandate to make changes, he could very well be the last Republican president.
He very much,
because
you're right.
If they change, like the Electoral College, if they change gerrymandering in the name of a national emergency,
let's
make
face it,
voting
are actual real potential emergencies rather than the border crisis,
absolutely,
quote-unquote crisis.
People's votes not counting is absolutely an emergency, a national emergency.
Education not being held up to standards.
Well, and climate change, I think, would be the first thing.
Climate change, healthcare.
Yeah,
if you get a progressive president, if you get somebody who believes in universal health care, even Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, they could declare a national emergency and say, listen, most of America is not getting health care. That's actually an emergency. People are dying.
Something like 25 million people die because of no health coverage. It's like that actually.
So this is actually one of the best things that Trump has done, in my opinion.
Well, it depends on how it. Well, it was stupid of him. Because it's just
that's
like,
what I mean.
Yeah. It's just like, the nuclear option, too, with that McConnell did in the Senate. That's going to come back to bite them in the ass.
Hopefully it does.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does.
But, I think if the court upholds his ability to declare this a national emergency, then the next president, be they a Democrat, could absolutely do that.
Sure.
With anything, pretty much. Anything
they want.
We'll
see if they do, depending on what Democrat. Yeah. This is part of the reason why I don't want another centrist winning. Because
it's funny because there's even a scare meme going around the right wing Facebook pages right now. That's a picture of AOC, and on it says President Ocasio-Cortez in 2025 declares the healthcare system a national emergency.
There you go.
So they see it too.
Yeah.
Like they see this is a huge problem.
But I will give it to somebody like Kamala Harris, who is a tough person. There's no one disagreeing that she's not a tough person.
No.
She's a tough person.
Matter of fact, some people, that's their criticism.
Right, yeah. I can see her doing this if for a democratic purpose. Maybe it won't be universal health care, but it might be. I know she's pretty decent on the climate. So if she declares a national emergency on the climate, that's the type of person who would definitely do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Elizabeth Warren, she would definitely do it on income inequality.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders would do a national emergency on everything.
Yeah, if this precedent gets set, that is very dangerous for Republicans because...
Now, a guy like Cory Booker, I don't know what Cory Booker would do as...
It would worry me. Like, he might declare the education system in a state of emergency.
Don't get me started
make
on
a bunch of charter schools.
education system. Oh, you're killing me.
Okay, but here was Ann Coulter's comment. I finally found
Here it is. We'll end on this.
Ann Coulter says, and imagine I sound like an evil witch, the only national emergency is that our president is an idiot.
Wait. Do I
Who's
like
the president
that comment?
again?
Do I like that comment?
Yeah.
I like that comment.
And that's why I tweeted out.
comment.
I was about to tweet out that the only national emergency is that our president's an idiot, but I found that Ann Coulter beat me to it. It's like, it's been a strange day.
Oh, man, that's rough. That has to hurt a little. It's like, damn it!
Yeah.
I had that, but she out of all people?
Ann Coulter beat me to it.
It's like, if you read the comments, the first really good comment is Peter Dow. Oh, man.
Yeah, that always makes me mad, too.
Let's move on. New York mayor says Amazon headquarters debacle was an abuse of corporate power.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what happened? It's over.
Oh, yeah,
Amazon,
it's over. Yeah.
Amazon is not going to be going to that little section of Long Island that you alluded to when this story broke out. It was Long Island.
It's not
Queens?
Long Island. It's Queens, but it's
Queens,
Long
okay.
Island City. It's very confusing.
All right, listen, for geographical purposes, Queens and Long Island, pretty much the same thing.
I mean, to an extent, they almost because if you keep going through Queens, you get to Long Island.
It's the same. It's the same.
But that part of Queens is a lot closer to Manhattan than it is to Long Island.
Ah, gotcha.
Because just right across the bridge.
There's two parts of the story. So the first part is
by the way,
de Blasio's
is this
takeovers.
our installment of what's happening with AOC?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Second part of this is, damn, you're good. I didn't even tell you what we were doing today.
I know.
We'll start with the not AOC part. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio is still upset that Amazon isn't coming to New York. Yeah.
That might be what we have to call. We have to change it from the Trump report to the not AOC report, and then we'll get to what's happening with AOC.
Look at you taking my ideas. Taking what my phrasing of ideas.
Yeah.
De Blasio attacked the company Sunday for canceling plans to build a second headquarters in Queens last week. Now, I'm not trying to take away what you had brought up when we played that good de Blasio clip, Austin, but this is the side of de Blasio that I was aware of, and I don't like it.
I know.
I don't like it.
Well, maybe I failed to explain why I found his performance on Bill Maher so encouraging. Not because I thought about supporting him. That's not even close.
Okay.
I just thought that he's saying this rhetoric and he's going to try to back it up with policy here in the city while he runs for president, which is exactly what he's going to do.
Do you care that it's not true?
No, if I get the policy here, what the fuck do I care?
You don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
We have good health care now.
There's
and
just
it doesn't
a part
matter
of
if he
me,
believes in it or not. I have it. So who
the
cares?
empathetic part of me wants to just have the person who actually believes in the cause. I know it's useless. It doesn't actually matter. If de Blasio becomes president and he passes progressive ideologies, fine.
Well,
fine.
it would worry me if he became president because I don't think he'd follow through.
Oh, I don't think so either.
But I think,
and this is a prime reason why I don't think he would.
But I think while he's on the campaign trail, he's going to have to make it look like he's done really progressive things in New York. And so for the time being, we're going to get some good policy. And that's all I'm hoping for.
Good for you guys. Yeah. So I'll tell you this. It's not happening. Amazon's not going to New York.
No, it is not.
And de Blasio was one of the first to kind of go on the offensive, as well as Cuomo, by the way. Cuomo, the governor of New York.
Of course, Cuomo
he definitely went on the offensive. And he said, well, yeah, it's great and all that you guys, your progressive little movement won, but we just lost 25,000 jobs. Well,
it's not actually true, though. But
this is all stemming from the next part of the story. The GOP lawmaker, Amazon would be moving into New York if Ocasio-Cortez wasn't elected. Do you know who this representative is that I'm talking about?
Who?
You don't know, right?
No.
The one and the only Pete King.
Oh, of
New
course.
York.
Of course. That's simply not true, though, because that's not even in her district.
No. He blasted progressive Democrats who opposed Amazon opening part of its second headquarters in New York, calling the company's decision to leave a disaster. It's like putting a sign up to that you can't do business in New York, he said during an interview.
Oh,
with
yeah.
radio
You can't do
host
business in fucking New York
John
City where all
Kevin.
of the businesses are. That's
Right.
fucking crazy.
Nothing is ever perfect, but in this case, it was as close as you are going to get.
What?
The GOP lawmaker argued that Amazon will be setting up shop in New York if Representative AOC, a fierce opponent of Amazon's plans to open half of its second had not been elected. If Joe Crowley was still the congressman, it would have happened, King said. And with that said, Austin, I want to just say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why he's not representing that part of New York is because they don't want people like that to make decisions like he would have made.
Well, and the thing is that her constituents would have been driven out of their homes because the rent would have gone so high.
Exactly.
And it was already ballooning. Like,
But
real
Crowley
estate
wouldn't care.
No.
Crowley wouldn't have
Oh,
cared.
no, he wouldn't. He would have loved it because he got a lot of donations from real estate, and they would have been booming. It would have been great for the real estate market, but all of the people who live there now would have been priced out of that neighborhood, and it would have stretched. It would have kept going. So
I love AOC. She might be my favorite. I love Bernie. I know Bernie's going to run, so I obviously support him.
Mm-hmm.
But if AOC could run right now and she was going against Bernie, I might vote AOC.
Oh, in a heartbeat. I would too.
I just love her.
Yeah.
One more quote from this jackass. The Democrats don't control everything. If the Republicans controlled the Senate, the state Senate, this would not have happened. The fact is, that is where it was really killed. Now, AOC celebrated this decision
Of course.
on Thursday.
Yeah.
And her tweet said, well, I'll read her actual tweet. Anything is possible. Today was the day a group of dedicated everyday New Yorkers and their neighbors defeated Amazon's corporate greed, its worker exploitation, and the power of the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I'm not preaching to you. You know
I just don't. They keep, saying this thing about the 25,000 jobs, but the thing is, none of those jobs were going to go to the locals. No. They were going to bring in people from other places who could afford to live there, and they were going to drive the locals out, thus gentrifying another neighborhood in New York.
As somebody who worked for a big company, I worked for Nike, right?
Yeah.
Nike opened up their second headquarters in New York.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you just said is exactly what happened. They brought heads from California, where their headquarters is currently.
Of course.
Well, I'm sorry, California, Oregon,
Yeah.
where their headquarters is.
Yeah.
They brought the heads from there to New York and then just created new ones in Oregon.
Yeah.
So, if anything, Oregon got new jobs
Yeah.
and New York lost jobs.
Yeah.
That's the way, but that's just the way it works. You open up a headquarters, not from the ground up. You don't just go down the street and say, hey, Joe, you want to work for Nike, or in this case, Amazon? No. You ship in people to run. It's no different. Yeah, you might create a few jobs here and there.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what it does to the community is not worth anything.
No. And the thing is, had they decided to build their headquarters in Midtown or in the financial district, I don't think people would have really cared, to be honest.
No.
But they're
Absolutely
building
not.
it.
I agree.
They're building it in Long Island City is now a little more upper middle class, but
Okay.
its roots are working class, and surrounding it are working class neighborhoods.
That's what I thought.
And it would have just driven the rent. It would have been unattainable for those people. And so they would have been driven out of another New York neighborhood.
Let me just read two more quotes here.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, and you'll understand why I want to read these. King, the douchebag from New York, added in his interview over the weekend that he hopes New York Governor Andrew Cuomo will quote, stand up, end quote, to progressive politicians from his party in the wake of the Amazon decision. Quote, he's got to tell the progressive left they cannot take over his party, end quote. Do you see how scared the Republicans are, the progressives?
Yeah.
The centrists fight with the progressives all the time, but they're not technically scared of the progressives. The Republicans, the smarter Republicans, are aware that this ideology will win the country over.
Yeah. And,
Maybe not right away.
and not only that, I mean, the centrist Democrats have always been slow to realize change is happening.
I agree.
And by the time they realize it, it's already happened and they're already, out of power. And it's going to happen to them.
It is. Well, that's the end of that story. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the way it worked because ultimately it shows that you can actually make a difference. If you bitch and moan and protest and fight the fucking powers of the world, you will win. That's just the way it works. It's worked throughout history. I'm a historian. I've seen thousands of documented cases of where people rise up and they defeat the powers in charge.
And here's the thing. They kept saying that, by Amazon building there. Like, first of all, Long Island City is already an up-and-coming place. Like, there's already businesses in there. And they're locally owned businesses by people who, I don't know, fucking live there.
There you go.
And they're employing people who also, guess what, live there. And,
there you go.
And they're building themselves up to be, closer to the neighborhoods in Brooklyn that surround them.
Okay.
But they kept saying that, we're giving these subsidies to Amazon, $3 billion, by the way. $3 billion subsidies for Amazon to build there. But they're like, but the tax revenue that we take in will be, far exceed $3 billion. So it'll be okay in the long run.
Right. Well, speaking of the word tax.
We just found out Amazon as a company made $11 billion this year in profits.
And how much did they pay in tax? Awesome.
Zero. They paid $0 in taxes.
This all happened in this past week.
Yeah.
That report of them not paying a cent came out the same week that this happened.
So what would have happened is what always happens. They would have gotten $3 billion in subsidies, not paid a goddamn thing in taxes, and driven poor people out of the neighborhood.
It in a smaller scale, I've had this debate with people in my very small town here that I live in now, right? Where they say there's nothing to do. We need a big store like a Walmart to come into town.
No.
If you want a company like Walmart to come in, say goodbye to every other business around you.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening when a big business like that comes in, people can't compete.
No.
Now, granted, this is a headquarters. It's a little bit of a different story, but ultimately, it's still the power of big business, and that's kind of what I'm trying to allude to right now. Big business ruins a lot of communities.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And if what you're saying is true about Long Island City, which I don't know anything about, and it's an up and coming place, this could have ruined everything.
Oh, it totally would have. It would have made it. It would have made it like another corporate headquarters. It would have just been a bunch of rich people there that totally decimate the area.
Right, exactly.
And make it just like Midtown or the financial district. And
I'm happy that it's not happening.
Yeah.
Now, granted, with that, we have to find out where they're going to go next.
They claim they're not going anywhere.
Well, I find that hard to believe. I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah.
Because it's a big company. It's a humongous company. And a second headquarters will be needed eventually, I think.
Well, they're building another one in Virginia.
Oh,
and
great
I think
state.
they're thinking of just making that one bigger.
Oh, yeah. And covered in black paint, probably. All right, let's move on to our next story.
Yeah, it's funny that state welcomes them, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Virginia, it's for, endless corporate greed and blackface.
Exactly. Let's move on to a story that's not about Virginia, but about West Virginia. Now, this story is fucked up.
Yes, and it also makes you wonder why people keep saying that that's where they belong. Because it's
no. It makes me wonder why people breed. That's what this makes me wonder about.
Well,
so there's a guy. There's a guy. I think that's a human. I can't tell. It might be an android that is malfunctioning. I don't know. It's a little strange.
It's like a fat android, a fandroid.
It's not the weight. It's everything else, actually.
Well, I saw that guy too. It doesn't look like he can look straight at you like his.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make fun of it because if he has a disability, I'm sorry. Obviously, he's not mentally all there because of what we're about to talk about. But
he definitely has a disability. I'm just not sure what it is.
But somehow, West Virginia still found a way to make him a lawmaker.
Yeah.
Republican lawmaker Eric Porterfield is under fire for his homophobia. Now, when I say under fire for his homophobia, you do not understand, unless you know what the story is, how bad this is.
It's
okay.
Yeah, it's probably the worst one of the worst public comments made about the LGBT community in quite a while.
Yeah. Quite a while.
In America, I mean, by a public official.
Yeah, I can't speak for the rest of the world.
I mean, a lot of, well, even in America, a lot of horrible stuff has been said by non-elected officials and by elected officials, but this is pretty bad.
In this case, especially. Yeah. West Virginia Republican state delegate, so not a House of Representative member, but of West Virginia alone. Eric Porterfield has been facing criticism for comments he made on February 6, comparing gay people to the KKK. Now, granted, that sounds like it's a bad comment. It's not the worst thing he said in this interview. When asked, oh man, I'm not gonna lie, this is very hard for me to read.
By the way, though, how come we never get invited to the gay KKK meetings? Do we have rainbow hoods and stuff?
I think Dave Chappelle did a skit on that a long time ago. This is very difficult for me to read. It's just very sad, and I hate it. I hate it. But that's why I had to bring this up. When asked how he would react if one of his children came out as gay, now to set the scene, he is in an interview with, I don't know, it's
a local reporter, I think.
Yeah, I think so. He has a daughter and he has a son. I guess they're both young. And he makes that comment about the gays and how they're like the KKK and how they're a hate group and they're trying to pass an agenda. And blah, 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 blah.
What are we supposed to hate? I don't understand.
I don't know, and I don't think there's any justification in this, right? Okay. So she was even thrown off. She was even thrown off.
Yeah, because what the fuck is he talking about?
So much that she asked the question, "What if one of your children came out as gay?" I can't. Oh my god, I'm getting chills. I'm so angry. This is an actual quote from. Let me read his name one more time. Eric Porterfield. Well, my daughter, I would take her for a pedicure. I'd get her. I'd take her to get her nails done, and then I'd see if she can swim.
And you have to imagine that he sounds like, 3 generations of inbreeding.
Oh, yeah, 3. 33. If it was my son, I would take him hunting. I would properly take him hunting. I would take him fishing, and then I would see if he can swim. Pressed on what, quote, see if he and she can swim means...
Yeah. What does it?
A grinning Porterfield replied, I just want to make sure they can swim. And he said this with a smile. Yeah. He's 1,000,000% implying that he would drown his fucking kids.
Yeah, I know. And he's not even...
Are you fucking kidding me?
And he doesn't have the balls to just say it. Like, if that's what you believe, say it.
Like, he's making a joke about drowning his children.
I know, his own kids,
because of who they are.
I know, it's horrifying.
When I saw this, I was so conflicted with emotions.
It was also very confusing because at first I wasn't sure that was where my mind went. I was like, oh, he's talking about drowning them. But then
that's what I thought instantly, yeah.
But it just seems so stupid the way he's saying it. Like, is that really what he means? But I think that is what he means.
You don't have to be a member of the LGBT community like myself and like Austin to feel hurt by this.
No, you just have to be somebody with a conscience.
Yeah, and that scares me. Yeah. That a state was, or at least an area of the state, was willing to put this person in power. He could have been making state decisions. This man has been making state decisions.
Well, may I remind you that the United States Congress has Steve King as a representative. And the United States Congress. And Mike
Pence is the vice president.
That's true. Steve King, I mean, I'm sure he hates gay people, but he seems to be more angry at black people. Mm-hmm. That's his thing.
He also doubled down on how gay people are bullies, tyrants, and oppressors. Yeah, because when I think of tyrants and bullies, I think of gay guys and lesbians. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it's crazy.
It's one of the groups in this country that are extremely oppressed. Not doing the oppression. No. They are oppressed.
Yeah. Maybe he's just mad because his profile hasn't gotten any hits on Grindr yet.
Oh, I would almost guarantee that this man has had some sort of gay thoughts in his life, and he probably is a bi or gay man.
Well, the thing that always makes me laugh is when, like, the far-right Republicans come out and say, look, we can't just let everybody act on their feelings. If everybody acted on their feelings, we'd all be gay. It's like, I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works.
No. Also, if this interview seems weird to you, it gets a little stranger.
Oh, yeah.
He said, it will not be long before they're burning rainbow flags in people's yards. They are a modern-day version of the KKK without hoods.
Oh, we don't even get to wear hoods?
Okay. What?
Yeah. Why did they burn the rainbow flag? It doesn't make any sense.
Quote, the KKK suppress a particular group of people, and that's exactly what the LGBTQ does. Their socialist agenda is to attack people who disagree with them. Let me tell you something, first of all.
We know well-noted socialists, the KKK.
Yeah. Well, let me say something right away.
Yeah.
As somebody who is actively on Grindr, I will tell you, one of the fucking things that drives me crazy is how centrist so many gay people in this country are.
Yeah.
It drives me fucking bonkers.
By the way, yeah, Tom is the one person who'll get on Grindr to argue with you about politics.
100%. Every time I see somebody with a MAGA hat on, I instantly message them. And it ain't a picture of my dick. It's a question. And the question is, what is wrong with you?
Oh, maybe you are a bully, Tom.
Yeah, fine. Fuck him. I'm a bully. As long as I'm fabulous about being it, right? Porterfield added, and this is where my real hatred comes in. He says, I wear my MAGA hat every day, even though I'm very much in fear of the terroristic activities the LGBTQ engages in. The terroristic activities of wearing glitter?
Yeah, it's true. They do get glitter bombed, but that doesn't seem that bad.
He said, and this is the last thing I'm going to ever mention about Eric Porterfield unless he gets arrested. I'm really mad right now. If you can
Tom
tell.
is furious, yeah.
It's not an anti-gay sentiment. It's an anti-LGBTQ sentiment.
That's the same thing.
No, it's not. You're wrong.
Why am I
you're
wrong?
actually wrong. Do you know why you're wrong?
Is it more
Because
inclusive? He
if
hates
you're
like a more inclusive group?
Exactly.
Okay.
If it was anti-gay, he hates gays and lesbians because lesbians form a gay. But he's also saying he hates bis, trans, questioning,
that's true.
Pansexuals.
He's expanding
everyone.
His hate.
He hates everyone. And here's the funny part about that sentence, right? So the LGBTQ is not the official name of the community. The official name of the community is like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, right? It's every letter.
It's a lot
two
of letters. Yeah.
Two of the letters is asexual and alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Alliance is a group of people who are not actually part of the community, except for the fact that they support.
Yeah.
Which is half of the fucking country.
No, to be honest, I think it's more than half.
It's probably is
I
more.
think it's a vast majority, to be honest.
But that's the crazy part about this.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the crazy part is that he
threatened to drown his children. Yeah.
Drown his child. Like, I feel so bad for his fucking kids, Austin.
I know.
What if his son and daughter? What if one of them is actually going to turn out or is gay, and they find this out in their teenage years? And this, hopefully, he's in jail by the time they find this out.
Yeah.
But if he's not, how are they ever going to have a life?
They won't. They'll face the same problem that a lot of people in the community face. It's just that their parents aren't elected representatives.
And they're not threatening to drown them, Austin.
Oh, no, that happens. I've heard stories.
I know it happens, but this is
not just drown, murder.
This guy had the balls to go on national television
and say, yeah, I know,
and say it.
Yeah.
Most people would probably keep it quiet.
Well, he doesn't seem very bright, to be fair.
No. Come on, West Virginia. What are you guys doing?
It's a good question.
You already gave us Joe Manchin.
What are
now
they
you give us this guy? I'm going to have to... Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Yeah. And I want to move on from this website because my malware bites just told me that this is an unsafe website. So let's get out of here quick. It's from the San Francisco Gate.
It's probably because they're using HTTP instead of HTTPS.
There you go. Oh, no, it's HTTPS.
Then, yeah, you might be on a bad site, but you probably should get out of it.
Nah, it's too late now, so it doesn't matter. It's been open for like the last hour. This is... Well, I can actually close this one. It's... Okay. Let's move on to our last story. Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Somebody, first of all, tell me exactly how she pronounces it, because I'm not going to watch one of her speeches. This is a little bit of a lighthearted story. We'll pick on Kamala Harris a little bit here.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to do this is because we talked about Elizabeth Warren, right? Whose her ideology is a little bit more aligned with ours, and we still found a way to poke fun at her. Mm-hmm. So we're going to poke fun at anybody who ever makes fun or makes mistakes. That's what we do. Bernie makes a mistake like that, we'll gladly joke with Bernie. We joke about his hair all the time.
I like to drink my beer the same way Elizabeth Warren does.
Oh yeah, very awkwardly. Okay, good. She was on a New York-based radio show called The Breakfast Club. Co-hosted by Charlemagne the God.
And unfortunately, we've already forgotten about it.
Who?
The Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah?
Which is a shame because their famous song was Don't You Forget About Me, but it's too late now. We've already forgotten.
What?
The Breakfast Club is a movie. Oh, my God. I can't believe I have to explain this.
I don't know what this is. Anyway.
Future me, just cut this out because it's going to be too frustrating.
So I guess they were talking about smoking marijuana, and she said in the interview that she supports the legalization of marijuana, which was a little weird at first, at least to me. Then she says in a quote, and this is where we're going to have fun with, "I have smoked weed, and I inhaled. I did inhale. It was a long time ago, but yes, but yes." Wow, it's actually funny that you said that, because this is from CNN Politics. It says the California Democrat replies invoking former President Bill Clinton's famous "I didn't inhale" line.
I didn't inhale.
But she did inhale. And she says, "I just broke news." Okay. So that's fine. You smoked pot, right?
Yeah, and it's not like she's the first to, that's pretty much the exact same joke that Obama made when he was running.
Right.
So he was like, yes, I smoked pot and I didn't inhale.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, this joke, he already made that joke because I remember it.
There's a little bit more to this.
Yeah, this is where it goes a little different than
it does,
the Obama joke.
A little bit different. Yeah. So they asked her what she would listen to when she smoked pot. Now, all right, let's have a little game with this. When I first started smoking pot, I listened to a lot of Bob Marley.
Really?
Weed introduced me into Bob Marley.
Were you like just a walking cliche?
Bob Dylan.
Of course.
A lot of Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah, of course.
My real love of Pink Floyd really, really grew when I started smoking pot. And then a couple, a little bit of like lo-fi hip hop. That kind of like soft music,
okay.
right? I used to listen to that show all the time when I smoked pot. Okay. It's great. What about you, Austin? What'd you listen to when you smoked pot? Like the first time, even now?
Oh, well, the first couple times it was Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Also a band called Porcupine Tree. I was listening to them a lot.
You were big on them for a while.
And then I think the one that changed my world was Kid A. I was really high when I listened to that.
There you go.
It was Radiohead, yeah.
There you go.
And lately, it's been a lot of Sufjan Stevens.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that why you got into? Okay. Well, the Breakfast Club, the radio show, asked her the same question. What were you listening to when you were high? What was on? What song was on? They asked, what would you listen to? It's a fair question.
Oh, come on, Grateful Dead.
No. Kamala Harris answered, Tupac and Snoop Dogg. Okay.
Wait a second.
Take it for what it is. Two very, very respected members of their musical genres, right?
Yeah, but
Tupac is considered one of the greatest rappers of all time. And Snoop Dogg is, he's Snoop, right?
Yeah, but
great music from the 80s, right?
But I mean, she's not old.
Great music from the 80s, right?
No, they weren't from the 80s.
Oh, well, that's weird because Harris graduated in 1986 from grad school. school.
Oh.
But they're not 80s musicians?
No, I'm pretty sure they were popular in the early 90s.
Oh, hold on. Let's do a little research. Hold on.
I think, if I remember
Tends
right.
to type. Oh, Tupac's debut album, Tupacalypse Now, which is actually a really cool name, was released in 1991. And Snoop Dogg's first effort, Doggy Style, another amazing name.
Wow, you think that's an amazing name?
Until 1993.
Ah.
Neither artist released any music publicly in the 1980s.
Although, I will be the first to defend Kamala Harris that
Go ahead.
if you're getting high a lot, sometimes it's hard to
I knew you were
remember
going to say this.
what you listen to.
I knew you were going to say this. I knew you were going to link it to well, if she's high, she probably didn't remember what year she was in. No, fuck you. She said she was in college. She didn't specify a year. If she said, I don't know, it was between this year and this year and this year. No, she said while I was in college. She graduated in 86. Why is this a story? It's not. It
No,
is.
it's pointless.
It's politics in its best. Harris is trying to do what Elizabeth Warren did by awkwardly drinking beer in front of people. She's saying that she's for the legalization of pot. Now, this is where my fun story kind of takes a turn. Kamala Harris and her record with people who have drug crimes or any kind of offense related to marijuana is not the best.
No.
When she served as the Golden State's Attorney General, at least 1,500 people were sent to state prisons for marijuana-related offenses between 2011 and 2016. That's an estimated 1,560 people in the span of just 5 years. That's an average rate of about 312 people imprisoned for pot-related offenses per year. Those are figures that would make even Attorney General Jeff Sessions a noted anti-marijuana crusader, beamed with pride. So what she can say in a radio show and what actually happened do not add up. This is very reminiscent of Hillary Clinton with gay marriage, for example. She was an outspoken critic of gay marriage in the 80s and 90s when she first became a public figure. And then all of a sudden in the early 2000s, she's like, oh, I've always been a supporter of gay marriage.
No, it wasn't the early 2000s.
When was the first time that she said that? I thought there was an interview in 2006 or something.
Well, as late as 2013, she said that she didn't think she would support same-sex marriage. 2013.
Then all of a sudden she says she was. And this is why I have a problem with this, and that's why I want to bring this story up. It's funny, and you can poke fun at it, but it kind of covers a more serious issue. That if this is starting already, you have to seriously pay attention to what these people say and what they actually do.
Yeah.
And that's every politician, by the way. It's not just Harris. Harris is the first one that's been caught this year. But wait, Cory Booker is going to say something. Gabbard is probably going to say something.
Tulsi, I'm sure already has.
You have to just fact check a lot of these candidates and see what they've actually done.
Yeah, and I mean, Tulsi Gabbard has had a very interesting past.
But I'm a little bit more forgiving because a lot of the stuff that she was.
Well, it seems like she really changed her opinion. Yeah,
because she was still young at the time when all the bad things really happened. Once she kind of went on her own, things changed. Yeah. I really didn't grow up in a religious family, but I can relate to people who grew up in a religious family. I don't give her a pass. I still think, but if you look at her policies since she's been a congresswoman.
Oh, yeah. It's better. Yeah.
It's not just better. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's more her, it's funny because there's certain parts of her foreign policy that I think are better than a lot of the Democrats, and then there's other parts that you go,
well, again, I'm not sure again, with Tulsi,
about.
I'm almost always going to be talking about social policies.
Yeah.
Not focused on foreign policies right now, just because.
But the thing is, I think foreign policy is important because if a certain candidate who keeps teasing us all does announce, he already has equal to, if not better, social policies.
Now let's talk about that for one last
time. And so then, what you'd compare them on is their foreign policy, and I think his is probably better. But
we'll end this by saying that Bernie has announced, finally, that next week.
Well, I don't think he announced
start
this.
Whatever.
It was leaked.
His statement, whatever. That he will start his exploratory campaign next week.
Yeah.
Whatever, Bernie.
It's exploratory committee, yeah.
It's annoying. But anyway, that's the news for the week.
Yeah.
I'm sure we missed something, but
Sorry.
whatever. So I was informed by our supporters and our advertisers that we're going a little bit over with time. So we don't have advertisers. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment, shall we?
Yeah, let's
shall
go.
we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you know what time it is?
I believe it's time for our final thoughts. So, my final thought for today.
Wrong.
No. Tom, that is very rude to interrupt me when I'm giving my final thoughts.
Excuse me, bitch. It's Twitter time! That hurt my head.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad I
The
heard you.
poll of the week. And I have to admit that this poll pissed me the fuck off. I was not excited with the results of this
No,
one
boy.
at all. Who is more annoying? Trump supporters,
Yes.
centrists,
No.
vegans,
I mean, centrists are annoying, but
or Virginia?
oh, that's a nice wrench you threw in there at the end.
Thank you.
Because Virginia's pretty annoying.
Really annoying. Okay, so let's get the obvious out of the way. Trump supporters won.
Yeah.
Okay.
They should have, I think.
We pander to a certain audience, and that certain audience does not like Trump. So when it's 65% of the votes go to Trump supporters, that's why. Now, I will say,
65%, that's pretty low, actually, from what I was expecting.
yeah, me too.
Well,
Going
you
back
put
to what I
centrists
just
in there
said.
too, though, and there's a good portion of our audience that might actually find them more annoying than Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And I could...
You would think so. You're right on both occasions. But do you know what the second place was?
Virginia?
Vegans!
Oh.
People think vegans are more annoying than centrists. Are you fucking kidding me?
Apparently not.
You're all wrong. You're all wrong.
Yeah, I don't mind vegans.
Vegans are at least doing something to change the world. Centrists aren't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't find vegans annoying.
So, voice from the underground, friends of the show, right? I'm guessing this is Dutch. If it's not Dutch, I'm sorry, but I think it's Dutch. Says, as a centrist, I acknowledge I am rather annoying. That's because I'm always correct. Right there is exactly why I hate centrists. But almost nothing is more annoying than a vegan. They're right up there with the MAGA 2A obsession. I don't know what that is. And then that comment is whatever, Dutch. You're wrong. But then the comment that followed it is from somebody named My Trace Elements, Tracy Rue. The comment says, "You're so right. Super annoying when people care about the planet, health, and other lives." Yeah, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. And, I was a vegan for a few months, a few years ago, right? Mm-hmm. It's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what's more annoying than a vegan. Anyone who eats a burger. Mm-hmm. Because when you go out to like a burger joint, there's always a veggie burger. Always a veggie burger. And almost any good place, they'll have some sort of black bean burger or something. Mm-hmm. Sitting with your friends who all have a meaty burger. If you're with like 4 friends, every one of them are making fun of your veggie burger. But I'm not at all making fun of their meat burger. So they don't take that into consideration. But as soon as the vegan says, "Oh, you shouldn't be eating the meat," it's like, "Oh, Mr. Annoying over here."
Yeah, well, it's always the case of the majority versus the minority. It's like anytime the majority's power structure is threatened, it feels like oppression.
I guess.
Well, there's that famous quote, people who have enjoyed privilege, as soon as, they experience equality, it feels like oppression.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think that's true. I think it'd be crazy to make fun of somebody for eating like a veggie burger.
Oh, yeah.
I don't particularly like the way most of them taste, but, if somebody...
I like black bean burgers. I think if you add a little spice to them, they actually turn into really good.
I think in New York, they have a couple restaurants who have the Beyond Beef or Beyond
you were
Meat
talking
burgers.
about that.
Yeah.
Pretty good,
They're
right?
very good. Yeah, and they taste like burgers. They just taste like burgers. And they even like have juice. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they're like
that's
made medium rare. It's really interesting.
The only one that I've ever had, well, one of the ones one of the options that are around this area are Morningstar.
Oh yeah, Morningstar. Yeah,
and I don't really care for Morningstar stuff.
I
don't think they're that good.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's really tough being a vegan because you don't understand how many things
are made with animal products.
Have animal products until you become a vegan.
Yeah.
You have if you think vegans are annoying, you have to at least try being a vegan for a week.
Yeah.
And seeing that everything, because you have to check everything that is made, and sometimes like a granola bar that should have no animal products will say may contain something of an animal product.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I find
tough.
The only thing I find annoying about, I think maybe both vegans and vegetarians, but it's not just because of what they like. It's any group who thinks this way is that they will tell people, you really shouldn't be eating meat. Mm-hmm. And they'll, or vegans especially. And the thing about both of them is that they're expensive. It's expensive to be a vegan. It's very expensive, yeah. And to a lesser extent, it's expensive to be a vegetarian.
Right.
Probably less so than a vegan. Vegan stuff is really expensive.
I can attest to that right now for you if you want.
Yeah.
Because I am a vegetarian myself.
And it's not as expensive, yeah.
It's not as expensive. You can get away with a lot more.
And this past month, I've been like proto-vegetarian. I mean,
okay.
I've had chicken, but that's about it.
Okay.
I haven't had beef in like a month and a half.
There you go.
But I don't think I'd ever give up eggs or cheese. I like them both.
Well, you see, eggs is the hardest part in the world. Cheese is tough because cheese really tastes good.
Yeah.
And cheese is, you could put cheese on just about anything. Eggs, because it's a binder.
Yeah, it's in everything.
Is almost impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to shop specifically in the vegan section.
Yeah.
And a lot of these companies don't do vegan food that well.
No, well, because it's hard.
It's very tough. Yeah.
But then you will get vegans telling like poor people you should really eat vegans. They can't afford that. That's crazy.
And I understand that
they're working 3 jobs just to give their kids like the off-brand cereal that they can afford.
But I will say this. For every annoying vegan, there's 10 annoying meat eaters who bully the vegans because they're trying to change their way of living.
No, I totally agree. I have more of a class critique. Like, if they really want to change it, they need to change the structure.
I agree. Yeah, sure.
And that they need to maybe make it so there's public funding of vegan production companies.
I mean, becoming a vegetarian means I can eat cheese and I do eat eggs, although technically speaking, eggs would be part of the meat. It's meat.
I'm not so sure because it's not.
How
meat.
are you not sure? It's meat, Austin.
Well, I mean,
what is it? Is it a vegetable? Is an egg a vegetable?
Is cheese a vegetable?
No, but it's an animal product.
I know that's why, but I'm saying like
it's still an animal product.
I know, but I'm saying some vegetarians won't eat eggs either. Vegetarians.
Well, because like I said, I think eggs are they are an animal product. I mean,
but so is cheese. But they eat cheese, and they have no problem eating cheese.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, but but if you're not for vegans, you can't eat eggs.
No, I know that. Yeah, no, I understand why vegans don't do it. It's the vegetarians that it's always confusing. It's like you eat cheese, but you won't eat eggs. I personally
don't like eggs. Yeah. Eggs have never been a thing that I've enjoyed eating.
See, so I like eggs. For me, partially because you can get a lot of them. They're really cheap and they're a great source of protein. Okay, and they're not.
I like if
actually
they're in stuff. If they're in stuff and I don't taste them, that's fine.
I like
if
the way
you have
they taste.
Well,
I'm good at making eggs, though.
I don't know. It's like...
Well, it could just be that you haven't been around somebody who's good at making them. Because eggs you can fuck up really easily.
I've tried almost every style, and I don't mind like a sunny side where you can break it, and then it kind of goes into whatever else is on top of it, and then you can mix it in.
Yeah.
But that all goes into the mixing part where it masks the flavor. Because scrambled eggs, you'll never ever catch me eating scrambled eggs. There's nothing. You can't pay me to eat scrambled eggs.
Fine, I just made scrambled eggs earlier.
Although, maybe I'll add it as a Patreon goal. So if you go to patreon.com/stumbleoverpod, maybe I'll eat scrambled eggs
There you go.
on a video
I'll make them. Maybe they'll be better.
for $100.
There you go.
We have to be making over $100 on Patreon every week,
Tom.
and I'll eat a scrambled egg.
Just trying to,
One egg scrambled.
trying to get a bribe to eat eggs. Okay, fair enough.
Let's move on to some questions.
Okay.
We don't have that many, but I don't want to drag this on too long. First question from Sonawana333, our friend Joe. Seeing as how my life is surrounded by educational kids shows, what's the kids show you remember watching as a kid? Mine was Barney. You want to go first?
His was Barney. Oh, that's interesting.
I watched Barney too.
Educational, is that what he's saying, right?
Yeah, is Barney I guess Barney's educational,
it is,
right?
Yeah.
I think Barney was probably mine as well. I remember my mom has a video of me saying, because I couldn't pronounce Barney when I was a baby. And I would just call him Baba.
Yeah.
And I always wanted Baba.
Mm.
But I also remember Blue's Clues was pretty, the original Blue's Clues.
That's the one I remember. Was Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues is big.
I may have watched Barney. I think I did, but I don't remember for sure. But I remember Blue's Clues. I remember being obsessed with that for like a year.
We actually talked about this on stream one time. I used to have like a little kit for Blue's Clues.
Oh yeah,
where you would leave clues and you had to make your own guess it thing.
I had the same thing.
My mom and I used to play.
I had the notepad, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the original notepad. Yeah. And I remember, I think I remember the song.
A giant spiral and a giant crayon.
We just got a letter.
Yeah.
We just got a letter.
Okay, that was it. Yeah.
Wonder who it's from.
Oh, please.
I had to finish it. Are you kidding me?
Now we're going to get sued.
Although, I will say this. Oh, fucking, who cares? No one's listening. The Barney theme song.
Oh, I don't even remember it.
I vaguely remember it.
I don't remember it at all.
Hold on.
I don't remember that at all.
I love you.
Oh,
you love me.
And now I instantly remember it. Yeah. Yep. I remember it now.
I would have to say Barney would be the first. Oh, you know what? It's either between Barney or Thomas the Tank Engine, if that's an educational show. That might not be an educational show, but I can't remember because I was a baby. I don't remember which one I watched first. I think my dad made me watch Thomas the Tank Engine because Ringo Starr was in it.
Yeah.
I think he forced me to watch that one first.
Thomas. I wrote a song about an octopus. Shut up, Mr. Conductor.
That was a good one, too. That was a good Ringo.
I used to be George Carlin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. George Carlin was the conductor. I wonder if George Carlin was the conductor when I was a baby, when we were babies. Maybe it was George Carlin. My dad loves
to make a mashup of images of Thomas the Tank Engine with George Carlin's actual stand-up over.
Oh my god! It's funny because my dad's who got me into George Carlin.
Yeah,
and Ringo.
Yeah,
so maybe it was both.
Well, my mom is a big George Carlin fan.
Oh,
and Beatles fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to talk to your mom next time. Next time I go over, I'm just gonna be like, "Oh man, you like George Carlin?" Let's talk about every skit ever because I love George.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next question from Hannah EMP, which is also at Hannah EMP1. What would be your perfect video game?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a fun question. Do you have one? Because I've thought about this over my life.
I'm not sure. Because usually I turn to video games so I don't have to think. That's their escapism for me.
You want some time?
Well, I was just thinking, I don't know if I could make it any better than Red Dead Redemption.
So it would be a Red Dead style. What's one thing that every game has a flaw for everyone?
Oh, of course.
What's one thing that upsets you about Red Dead that you would want in your own game? Is it the time period?
No, that's actually particularly what I like about Red Dead. So I like the time period. To be honest, I wish I had more narrative which sounds crazy because it has a lot of narrative. But
Are you out of your mind?
no, but I wish
so
the
much-
narrative were more streamlined.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Red Dead suffered from a couple of problems with the narrative, where
And I would have liked the choice to have played more than one character
ooh, okay, so
throughout
like
the entire game. Yeah.
a Red Dead that you can like swap between characters,
Yeah,
or
which is what Grand Theft Auto did. You could swap between 3 characters.
oh,
And each one of them had a different piece I had to complete to make this to finish
can
the
I
story.
add to the Hannah's question then?
Yeah.
What would be let's use 3 because video games has this lore of making the rule of 3.
It does seem
if
like
you're a
it's
video
3,
gamer.
yeah.
Yeah, like bosses, you hit the bosses 3 times and you win. What 3 characters?
Well, it would have been Arthur. I liked that character.
Of course.
And I liked what was it, Sadie, the female lead.
Sadie was awesome.
Yeah.
Loved Sadie.
And then
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think, the last one would probably be I can't remember his name, but it was the Native American member of the gang.
Not Lenny.
No, Lenny was the African American one.
Yeah. Shoot, I can't remember.
But he was like Arthur's like sidekick for like the last half of the game.
Spoiler alert: when that character dies,
Yeah.
oof, oof,
Yeah, it's rough.
that was rough.
Yeah.
That was rough.
So I think those are
Yeah.
the 3 I would have picked.
Those are good. Yeah.
And I purposely wouldn't have picked Marston because
Okay, because he has a whole game.
yeah, exactly. And it's like
And if you played the entire game,
okay,
there's a
that's the part
there's
I
a-
wasn't going to say because for
Yeah.
people who haven't played the game, but you do end up
Well,
playing him later.
Well, but that's also you've had plenty of time to play the game. Number 1, number 2. We're not going to specify what the thing is, but at the very, very end of Red Dead 2, it shows I think it shows the credits first, and then it rolls into a sequel / prequel.
Yeah.
You get to play as John for like another couple of hours.
It's like the epilogue of that game and the prologue for the first one.
Right. It's a little strange. And I know a lot of Red Dead fans were like, ugh, because you had an amazing moment with Arthur.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to end it there. But I actually liked the little gameplay with John. It was
No, I thought
cool
it was
set
good.
up.
Yeah. Answered a lot of questions too.
It did. Yeah.
I remember when I finished that game, the one thing I did regret was not spending more time as Arthur. Like
Yeah.
just taking more time because I was like, just because I like the main storyline, so I was always like,
It's a great
let's get through
story.
the.
It's a great story.
And then you finish it as John Marston, and then you can go back and do the other storylines. But you're doing them as John
can
Marston
you?
and not Arthur.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you could. Oh, cool.
So they changed it a little bit.
That's really cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know you could do that. All right.
But I
that's
remember
cool.
thinking, I should have spent more time because Arthur, I think, is a far better character than John Marston.
Then John,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought they did such a great job. Just I don't know, he felt more real.
Yeah.
John was more of a video game character.
Yeah, he was.
It was a Rockstar video game character.
Yeah.
Rockstar's for those who are not video game nerds, Rockstar's the company who created Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead.
But that's what I like so much about the last Grand Theft Auto too, is that they didn't feel like video game characters anymore.
No.
Well,
yeah.
apart from one, there was one character in GTA 5 that did kind of feel like a video game character. It was Travis or Trevor.
So what you're
rather.
saying is your perfect video game already exists.
Pretty
essentially.
with slight tweaks, I think so. Yeah.
You see, when growing up, I've always played a few different type of games. I go through RTSs, real time strategies, and RPGs, role playing games.
Yeah.
My first ever game was Empire Earth, which is one of the first RTS games that kind of started off that city building aspect of video games. This is like late 90s. Caesar 3, another big city building game back in the day.
Yep.
Then I would switch over to like a game like RuneScape. I played WoW, World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I like those RPGs. So it would either be one of the two, but I think after playing Red Dead 2, and I've been playing a lot more of the campaign. I'm not fully done with it, but I've seen it on Twitch.
Yeah.
I would like a Red Dead style video game, open world, that type of game, but in a different era. Because my era is never American history. I'm not an American history enthusiast. I study it because I'm kind of have to, and it's important for the country I live in. But my interest in history has always been classical, ancient Roman specifically. That's what I want to have my major in ancient Roman studies. I would love an open world game in the ancient world more than anything. I almost got it with Assassin's Creed's Odyssey, which is in ancient Greece. But
didn't they just make one about ancient Egypt too?
Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
I think so. Origins, I think, was the name of that. And listen, Assassin's Creed is fine, but it's not quite what I want. I want it exactly how Red Dead is.
Yeah.
But in the ancient world. Like if Rockstar decided to make a Roman version of Red Dead, that would be my perfect game.
I wish they would make an open world game in America in the mid 60s. I think would be amazing.
Okay.
As then you could, maybe your character is part of the countercultural movement.
Interesting.
But
then oddly enough, I almost found the perfect video game for me in a game called Mountain Blade Warband, which is where you start off as a one character, so it's a role-playing game, but you have to go town to town to build an army, and then you get towns and stuff like that that you can manage. Yeah. But the actual combat is you leading an army, and you're a one guy, and you can sort of control the army, but they essentially control themselves. You're just the general of it. Yeah. That was a very close to perfect game for me. So
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, but that's also my preferred style. Rome Total War is another close game to perfect for me, where you have the world of the ancient world of Europe and Northern Africa, and you could be any of those civilizations and try to conquer that world. That was kind of cool too. But
I think that it would be interesting to have a game take place during the Civil Rights Movement.
That'd be cool.
And then maybe another one during the Great Depression.
Ooh, okay.
Like an open world game that's similar to Oh Brother Where Art Thou, I think.
There you go.
Be interesting. But because I like the like in Grand Theft Auto, they really had a lot of themes of class and race, because the one character was kind of like a former career criminal who retired and then is working with the FBI, and that's why he's safe pretty much from being prosecuted.
Okay.
And he has a lot of money. He lives in the richest part of LA, where the other character is a young African-American man who lives in the projects. And you get to experience both their worlds and how different the socioeconomic...
That'd be something. That would actually be an amazing concept for a video game.
Well, that is the concept of that game. It's just modern. It takes place today.
Which game is it?
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Rockstar.
Yeah, but they do a surprisingly good job of social commentary.
That's... Okay. That's shocking to me.
It was shocking to me, too, because I was expecting it to just be another Grand Theft Auto game.
The first Rockstar game I ever played was a game called Bully. Did you ever play Bully?
I remember that game. I didn't play it, but I remember it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the framework for every single game Rockstar's ever put out in one way or another. Yeah. It's hard to explain. Bully was a weird game. But yeah, that's kind of shocking that they would take on such a deep meaning. I know there was a game that came out called Detroit Being Human, which actually involved humans and robots, and that doesn't sound like it could be anything related to what you were just talking about, but apparently it is.
Oh yeah, well, people have been using like humans versus another segment of real like robots or aliens as an allegory for race and class.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of times they just like, I don't know if it makes it more obvious when it's a different thing other than a human being, because you kind of drop your preconceptions when you see
maybe
like, oh, if it were these two, if it were like robots versus humans, like it makes a lot more sense, because I guess some people have trouble understanding that difference when it's just presented as race or gender or class.
Right.
But I think Grand Theft Auto really took on class, and I don't know if I agree with everything they have to say, but there's a lot of it that I thought was great. And it always makes me laugh that it's so popular, because I felt like if people on the right played it, I don't know if they're just not paying attention to this, like the commentary, but it is deeply like anti-conservative.
It's people probably, when it comes to video games, it seems like people are either unaware or just too invested in the game to care.
Yeah.
Video game, it's harder, I think, from seeing video games being played and talked about. I think unless you are an analyst in that genre in video games, you don't pick up on that kind of stuff normally.
But I mean, it's even on the radio. Like when you flip through the radio channels, they even have commentary and like they talk about elections and stuff. And it's
really, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to give GTA 5 a chance.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
I never liked GTA.
Yeah.
It was one of the things like I need a sense of realism in video games. I know that makes no sense because you're playing video games to disappear. But I never liked fantasy games. Like WoW never really did it for me. I always went toward RuneScape, which was more of a medieval game with some fantasy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always needed some sort of realism, which is why I love Red Dead, but I don't like GTA. Because GTA, you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
But I mean, if you don't go crazy, if you stick to the
but how do you
storyline.
not? It's so easy.
I know, and it's fun too.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's fun to pull someone out of their car, beat the shit out of them, and steal their car.
I mean, stuff like that does happen.
Okay, let's end this.
It does, though.
Not like that.
Yeah, maybe not as it's not as cartoony, but yeah.
Austin.
I'm just saying, cars get stolen. Shit happens.
You're right. You're right. Anyway, that's enough. We're way over time. Good luck today.
Is that all the questions?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Let's end this segment and move on to the final segment. We'll see you in a minute. Bye. And so ends our big dumb show.
Knew that was coming.
Oh, my goodness. Austin, what are your final thoughts?
Well, it's been quite a week. I feel like this is a national emergency that Trump is still president.
Oh, is that is the emergency.
Yeah, maybe that's something that we could all come together and solve.
Hopefully.
Well, we better when the elections come up, but maybe we can fix it before then. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Probably not.
Probably not. No, I doubt it.
Probably not.
Probably not. But and of course, I'm very glad that Amazon is not here. Their headquarters are not here in New York. That's nice.
Truth.
Now, if we could just get rid of some of the other corporate nonsense that happens in New York, it'd be even better. But
would be nice.
Yeah, but preventing it from growing is just good enough for me for now.
That's a good start. Yeah, you're right.
And so I'll take that.
Okay.
And of course, very thrilled to have AOC as a representative of our city.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
You're so lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
And one of the guys I work with actually lives in her district, so it's even better for him. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's lucky. Yeah, it's just I actually love her. She's she is everything that I've wanted in a politician since I was 10 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I love the fact that the Republicans and the centrists hate her. I love it, and I know she does too. Yeah. I just love it.
But the thing is, some centrists like her.
Yeah, well,
as a matter of fact, I saw on
to.
Facebook today a woman who constantly posts like anti-Bernie stuff was like, "Oh, we need more AOC in our lives." It's like, okay.
What?
Well, don't yell at them, Tom. Just let him go. Fine. Let him go. Let him like her.
Does she realize that it's almost the same policy? Okay,
quiet.
Fine.
Fine. Shut up, Tom.
I guess she hasn't seen the selfie of Alexandria and Bernie.
Shh, quiet.
I guess she hasn't heard our interview where she said Bernie pretty much inspired her. Okay, fine.
Shh.
Okay.
Shut up, Tom.
Stupid people, man.
Trying to get AOC elected. God, be quiet.
I don't think you have to try very hard.
Well, if you let him on to the secret.
If the time, when the time comes, I'll say when the time comes, because Alexandria is going to run. At one point. When the time comes, I am going to 100% invest my life into making sure that at least my area is represented.
Oh my God! Are you
campaign.
kidding me? Yeah.
And
I'll
it's
be
not
here
just
at like
it's not just the factor that she was on our show. That does have something to do with it, but not a lot.
Well, it's very nice. It's like a feather in your cap. It's like,
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
we talked to her. It's a very hipster thing. Oh, we talked to her
Yeah.
before she was cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, she was always cool, but before everybody else knew about it.
And I wonder if there's somebody who's listening to this show right now who's like, I really don't like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It sucks. Sucks to be you, because you're going to hear a lot of AOC stuff for the next rest of the time that we're doing the show.
Especially with our brand new segment, What's Happening with AOC?
Yeah. And we had that today, just in a different spot.
Yeah. It was like right in the middle instead of the
But
end.
for the first time, though, I deliberately looked for something AOC related.
Oh yeah, which won't be hard to find.
No.
Because
she's
people are
in the
just
news a
confounded
lot.
by her.
And she's in the news a lot.
But remember, she was here first.
Yeah.
She was
That's
here
right,
before she was on TYT or Jimmy Dore.
Again, she had like 2,000 followers. Not even, maybe.
And now
I don't remember.
we only listen to her on vinyl. Because we're AOC
Pretty much.
hipsters.
Pretty much. Anything else? Because we got to wrap this up.
No, I'm good.
All right. Whatever Austin said, ditto. Thanks for listening. We will be back next week, sort of. Not really, but we'll be back.
We'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back.
You'll find out next
Yeah.
week.
All right.
This is our new format. We're starting it off this month.
Yeah.
Without, I guess that's all we got, right?
Yeah, that's all we got. So
All right. Have a good week. We will see you next week, and officially then the week after. Pre-recorded Tom, take it away.
wow, that's creepy. All right.
Once again, thank you so much for listening. As always, you can find us on Spreaker.com/DumbleOverPod. We're also available on iTunes. Just look up DumbleOverPod. We are on all the social medias, starting with Twitter @DumbleOverPod, Facebook @DumbleOverPod, and of course, there's Instagram. And you guessed it, it's @DumbleOverPod. We are also on Patreon, so check out our Patreon. At patreon.com/DumbleOverPod. And if you're interested in buying some merch with some special logos, you can check that out at tpublic.com/user/DumbleOverPod. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.